Welcome back to the show, folks. We got a man who has gone out the country, and that would be Colonel David Smith, who is over in Abu Dhabi tonight. Colonel, thanks again for being with us tonight. Do we still have Colonel Smith, Nick?
Yeah, I'm here, Chris.
Okay, thanks again for being with us tonight. And I know, once again, it's after 2 o'clock in the morning. It's tomorrow in Abu Dhabi tonight for us, anyway. Colonel, recently there was a bombing at a mosque in Saudi Arabia, and the Islamic State claimed responsibility for it. So now here's a whole other player involved in this, if you will. It's a sort of a border skirmish between Saudi Arabia and Yemen. How would the Islamic State been able to pull this off?
Well, there's certainly a terrorist element inside the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and that's what you're seeing. And there certainly has been those type of terrorist attack, and there's also been attacks from Yemen into Saudi Arabia, a couple recently, that artillery fire and attacks on border crossing points that have killed several Saudi soldiers, and so it's definitely escalating, and you're definitely going to see more boots on the ground and more missions being flown that are bombing these targets. But I'm absolutely certain you're going to see a significant military incursion into Yemen. You just have to put troops on the ground, and we're seeing the same thing, and people have been saying the same thing with up in all the ISIS-controlled area of Iraq and Syria. It's coming. It's inevitable.
Well, speaking of troops on the ground, we know that Saudi Arabia has a magnificent air force and facilities. Do they have a lot of tanks and that sort of thing?
Well, the U.S. has sold them quite a few tanks.
Yeah.
So they definitely have the power to go in. It's, do they have the leadership? Do they have the skills, and can they sustain it? The logistics piece, and that's really what the U.S. is helping with now. And expediting some weapons shipments to them, and I think all the Gulf countries that are involved in the airstrikes are kind of getting some of the same support.
I see. You mentioned there is a terrorist element in Saudi Arabia, and I think that's fairly well known. They've been dealing with it in one form or another for a long time. But is there also now terrorist elements in the Arab Emirates and other Arab states where it wasn't before?
There's definitely a threat, and everybody is addressing it in their own way around the Middle East. You do see things that are reported, and it's a growing issue, and they're taking it kind of head on. That's why I think you see Saudis and all the other Gulf Cooperation Council getting involved militarily, but really recently there was even a conference of Islamic countries getting together and coming out with a strong statement and an agreement to work together to battle this terrorism. And I tell you, that's a good thing. The United States can't be the world's police force anymore. Frankly, after close to 14 years of war, a lot of our military is tired. So I think it's absolutely right that these countries take a military role in defending themselves and in fighting what is a war in their own backyard. That's a good thing. Unfortunately, it's pushed upon them because the United States and our foreign policy in the Middle East we're withdrawing. And it's the one thing we probably should not be doing in order to prevent even a greater escalation of war in the future.
You spoke about our military being sort of tired, tired and thin at the moment. Would it be good for the next president to turn that around and begin to rebuild our military in a serious fashion? Not only would it be good for our own protection, but would it be good for the nations in the Middle East who are still our allies?
Absolutely. You cannot. We've got to rebalance our force and replenish our supplies, rebuild the combat losses that we suffered. No matter what who's elected in 2016, that's a must if we want to prevent a greater problem in the future. The United States needs to rebuild itself militarily.
David, can we play the role of leader in the region without having to, fight these wars for these countries? Can we? In other words, Obama's leading from behind. He's more or less in a way getting them to do what they need to do, but he's doing it in sort of a disastrous fashion. If we could provide them better leadership, would they still be able to fight for themselves? I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, they definitely have a military capability that is probably much more significant than most Americans realize. And that's simply because American business that I'm in have sold them a lot of that type of capability, and they can use that. But they've never had to do it on their own. And that's that's frankly, I think, one of the reasons that so many countries are in Yemen is they're getting their forces combat experience. In which is really a fairly low threat environment, certainly from the air. And my experience as a pilot tells me that that they're getting getting some practice, and defending their own borders is a good thing, and being able to stand up to terrorism is a good thing without the United States having to lead them by the hand. So.
Okay.
There's something to be said for what's going on over here, for these countries really taking a lead without the United States having to develop a big coalition and UN support and all that kind of business. But leadership from behind is a failed strategy, and it's gonna be a problem in the future.
All right, one last question. I only have a minute and a half here. What's going on? If you wanted to do something right now in Abu Dhabi, what could you do? Is there any nightlife in that city?
Oh, there's a booming nightlife, and this is a very cosmopolitan kind of city with people from all over the world. A lot of British, a lot of Irish, a lot of Australians. Most of their workforce over here since the few weeks that I've been over here working on a couple of business projects. That I've met. There's a lot going on over here. It's a huge international banking center, a lot of manufacturing, a lot of other things going on. But it's a booming city.
I guess what I'm asking is like casinos, nightclubs, and can you go dancing and partying, or is it because it's a Muslim country they don't allow that?
No, you can go into an Irish pub or a British pub. They certainly have that. Most of I don't believe that there's any casinos that I'm aware of. But in the tourist sections and with hotels, you can go into any restaurant and bar and buy a drink, glass of wine, a mug of beer, and so it is a Muslim country, and there's certainly some things that you have to be aware of.
Okay, Dave, we'll have to leave. We'll leave it there, but we'll see you when you get back to town, okay?
Okay, great, Chris. Good being with you.
AM 660, The Answer.